Hi, this is Nalini at Dark Matter Zine. We're on day 2 of PAX and today I'm talking to Adam and Dan. They're doing a Kickstarter at the moment. They've developed a game about vaccinations. Dan is a doctor, medical doctor, not one of those, PhDs of philosophy. And he's got a passion to teach people about vaccination. So tell me all about this game and how you developed it.
So it's kind of just born out of our friendship, really. Adam and me were good mates through uni. Adam is himself a scientist background in nutrition and just loves his games, got a good game library at home, and we always catch up, play games together, and I guess we always kind of wanted to develop a game, and for me personally it was I wanted to develop a more scientific kind of game, a more educational kind of game, and the concept of using the diseases that you are included in the vaccination schedule, I think, was a really good way of having a bit more of giving a name to the face of some of those diseases and kind of making them into characters and getting a little bit of educational content in the game as well. So our main priority was to create a game that was fun to play and also a bit of an educational platform for people for something that not a lot of people really aware about in terms of what are the symptoms of the diseases you get vaccinated against, and maybe a little bit more about what's behind diseases for vaccination.
So does it go into things like the consequences, the potential risks of not being vaccinated?
I guess, in a more roundabout way, we talk about the morbidity and the mortality of the diseases and the symptoms behind those diseases. So obviously, it talks about, I guess, in a way, the risks of contracting those diseases, but in more of a fun and educational kind of playful way.
Yeah. When my kids were little, I had friends who were anti-vaxxers, and so I looked into vaccinations and I discovered that the risks of being vaccinated were down here and the risks of getting the disease were up here. And it's like, look, I'm sorry guys, but you're much more likely to get something really detrimental if you don't get vaccinated. So is that kind of where you're coming from with this?
For us, it's more just a platform for adults to be able to have that conversation with kids and to discuss it. Being a medico with a scientific background, obviously I know the benefits for the population health for vaccination. That's a very important thing. I think it's pretty widely covered in the media, and it's vaccination can be quite a polarising issue for some people, but being a health professional, I have to promote the overall population health benefits of vaccination. And this just provides a bit of a platform for kids to be able to educate it through a medium that really engages them. So the game can just be seen as just another information giving tool, just like a brochure, I guess, but in a way that kids can interact with, a platform where they can, I guess, be engaged with. The gamification of information is in terms of education is getting really widespread and important. And this is a very kind of low-tech, just card game, very easy to interact with. And the kids at a young age can play it as well. So it's just a good way for parents and children to have that conversation. And the game, I guess, doesn't directly speak to the overall benefits of vaccination. It just kind of gives the tools necessary to have that conversation.
So this is a game aimed at children. Are you planning to get it into schools?
Well, it's a game aimed at everyone, actually.
Yeah.
We've kind of got rules that really cater for adults as well as gamers who are looking for that little step up, and also rules that scale back down for kids. It's very basic. It's an addition and subtraction game. It can be taught to quite young children who are just learning those things, and at its most advanced rules, it's a bit of a tactical kind of game for adults as well. But in terms of getting it out to schools, we are trying to engage. We've got really good positive response from the education community and the daycare community. There are a lot of daycare areas around now, or institutions that you have to have vaccinations to be taken into the daycare facilities, and it's becoming a really stressed issue in terms of education. So we'd like to see it get out into schools. We'd like to have it roll out into vaccination giving programs, and at the end of the day, we'd really like it translated into a few different languages as well, so we could have it distributed alongside vaccination programs to places that need the education and the reward for vaccination the most.
So are you aiming at the translations, are you aiming them at Australia's multicultural community, or are you planning to export this to other countries, or both?
Probably both long term. I mean, the Kickstarter goal that we have is a budget that will probably allow us to pursue those avenues. That's probably a little while away for us just yet, because we're just starting out with a bit of a, obviously a crowd-funded project, but
Yes.
yeah, the aim would definitely be to try and translate the basic text and to get some of the more symbolic things on the cards to be accessible across cultures and across languages, and be able to have a more widespread game.
And what about you, Adam?
What about me?
Well, you're sitting there all quietly, so...
I suppose all the medical side of the game and the idea itself spawned from Dan, that being his profession, and I suppose, you know, we've played games together for a long time and sort of discussed how it'd be cool to make a game one day, and he came to me with this idea about 18 months ago, saying, I think I want to make a game about this. And I said, oh, that's cool. Let me know how it goes and how it progresses. And then maybe 6 months ago, he came to me with a pretty basic prototype with how he wanted the game to operate and things like that. And we probably spent about a week just playing it ourselves and tinkering with the rules and making it run a little bit smoother and be easier for kids to play and things like that. So I suppose that's where I more came in. I've got a health background as well, so I've got a pretty good appreciation of the concept as a whole, but I suppose the specifics of the diseases and the way the cards were developed in terms of showing their symptoms and things like that was more Dan's doing.
Yeah, I think like the majority of people understand the concept of the vaccination fairly well, I think, but not a lot of people really understand, or not a lot of parents or kids understand maybe what diseases the vaccinations protect against. I think that's probably the main learning message from the game, is that you know, these diseases sometimes can be pretty nasty and have really bad symptoms and quite a high mortality rate. We've got some statistics on the card on the cards for each of the disease characters from the World Health Organization about actually what the incidence of each of the diseases is per year and what the mortality is as well. And kind of blends into the game a little bit, and it adds just a little bit of a educational tin point about, I guess, the seriousness of those diseases, without, and the underlying message being that, you know, these are diseases that are preventable through vaccination. Sometimes you don't need treatment, sometimes you need prevention, and the most important thing, health speaking, from a health economics perspective, is preventing disease before it happens, and vaccination has been really well shown to reduce some of the more prevalent diseases in the past, and in some cases eradicate those diseases. So it's an important message to spread, and I think there are a few diseases that can still be impacted on a global scale through vaccination, and this is just another way to deliver that information as a tool. We've got some cards that are a bit more advanced and talk about the symptoms of the diseases in a later stage. For example, we've got a meningococcal card, and we've got kind of two versions of that card, one of the earlier symptoms and one of the later symptoms. And we just kind of worked it into the game. Like, the later symptoms one is a bit more of a powerful card, it's got better kind of special powers. Yeah, it's just a bit more fun, but it does kind of speak to the severity of diseases. Yeah.
So you're going to do more expansions with things like maybe aiming more at adults for some and more at children for others, things like this? I mean, I see a huge market for this. I see great potential.
Well, I think we've got some more decks that will be unlocked as the Kickstarter stretch goals get ticked off. So we've got 3 decks to start with, which are the starter deck, booster deck, tropical deck, and then as stretch goals get reached, we've got the future deck, which are diseases which have immunisations in the process of being developed, and also the eradication deck, ones that have obviously been eradicated. And then we've got a few other ones up our sleeve. Depending on how things go with the Kickstarter, we might release them, we might save them for a later date, but there's definitely room for expansion in terms of not only the cards, but also the mechanics. We've had some really good feedback during packs about ways we can change a few things to make the cards more advanced for, I suppose, the gaming community. Where they sit at the moment, we think it's a really nice balanced family game and a game for kids, and everyone's pretty much agreed with that. But there are a few things on the cards which we could potentially enhance to have another level of complexity to it. So I suppose the short answer is there are definitely things we can add to the game, but I think our first point of call was to get it out there for families to use as an educational tool to try to get into schools, and just to, like Dan said, raise awareness. And
one step at a time.
Exactly. So there's definitely more things we can do, but we didn't want to sort of throw everything at it at once, because then we thought we might lose the main message we were going for.
Yes.
Yeah, so at the moment we have as Adam mentioned, we have a few decks at the moment. We have the starter deck, which is basically the immunisations as per most of the country's schedules between the ages of about 0 and 6. And then we have the booster deck, which is we've got some cards here for you. So we've got the starter deck, which are these grey ones, and they're the ones they're the diseases that you get immunised against between the ages of about 0 and 6, between birth and when you're quite a young age. And then we've got the purple deck here is the booster deck, and they're the vaccines that are you get booster shots for, or later on in your childhood, and they're the cards that potentially could be used by adults as a bit of a reward, maybe for kids who are afraid of needles and so forth. Kind of as a reward system, as if you get this vaccination, you kind of collect that card. It acts as a bit of a collect a card game. Then we've got the tropical deck, which are diseases that are a bit more tropical, infectious diseases. Maybe travellers are the ones who get immunised to those, like typhoid and Japanese encephalitis, or hepatitis A, yellow fever, etc. And then we've got the future deck. So the future deck is a bit of a secret stretch goal, but we can show you guys. We're going to unlock this with our Kickstarter funds. These are cards that either have vaccination targets of vaccination development in the future, or are diseases that have a really large impact on global health and possibly are targets for potential vaccines in the future. And we've got a fifth deck as well, so that's 1, 2, 3, 4. And we've got a fifth deck as well. It's another stretch goal called the eradication deck, which is a bit of a secret one we're keeping at PAX, and we'll release if our Kickstarter gets the stretch goal that's needed. And we've got a couple of ideas in the pipeline probably. But at the moment, the Kickstarter, if you fund it, you get all the decks, and it's about 40-something character cards in the whole deck at the moment. There you go.
Great. Well, how about you teach me how to play?
Yeah, we can do that.
So how long is a game expected to take?
So it takes probably between 15 and 20 minutes. It's a good filler game. Good kind of 1 versus 1 battle style card game, really.
Okay.
Yeah, that's
so that's just a resistance tracker.
Yeah.
So at the start of the game, you start on 18 resistance.
Yes.
And then as the game goes on, you can either lose resistance
Yes.
or go up, and you just use one of the cards from your deck just to keep your score by scrolling it up and down. So rather than having a bit of a clunky board, we thought we'd try and make it something that a card can be used, so you can just carry around a deck of cards.
Yep.
And then from the deck of cards, basically the way the game operates is that there. So it's got rabies card there. You can do one of 3 things every move. So you can attack or infect your opponent by using the move in the circle. So for rabies, it's confuse.
Okay.
You can build your own resistance. So the number in a shield increases your resistance.
Yes.
Or you can use the special move, which is down the bottom in the red,
Yes.
which changes the game. So it might make your opponent do something. It might dictate what they play with their next card. It might make them remove some of their cards from the game.
Right.
Or lots of things like that. This might be a good opportunity to explain that the images on the cards actually reflect the symptoms of the disease. So obviously rabies is an animal-borne disease, so you've got the animal head, frothing at the mouth, things like that, and all the cards do that. This is quite a favourite of the kids, cholera, giant poo monster. And you can see down there his attack move is called Mega Poo, and his it's fuzzy there, and his special move is Dehydrate. So the names of the moves and the special moves are somewhat related to the characters themselves.
this is really good for language expansion for kids.
Yeah, well, we decided to keep the language more scientific instead of dumb it down. So we kept the real names of the diseases, even if they're quite hard to pronounce, because I think it's better if people just try to learn how to pronounce it, even if they get it wrong. So just to keep it a bit more educational, just a little bit more of an educational point.
And let's face it, a poo monster, I mean, that's probably what kids are going to call
That's
it.
right, yeah.
Exactly.
Poo monster is a bit easier to say than cholera, or schistosomiasis is the one that no one can pronounce, but that's all right.
But the fact that they're seeing it on the cards and they
Yeah.
can relate it to what's going on. So you just choose a random card off the top of your deck.
Yes.
Start on 18.
Yes.
And then you do yourself 5 cards. Is that one of mine? Yep. So 5 cards to start. Youngest player goes first.
I think that's you.
That's me.
I think that's Dan.
So with each move you make, you have to basically, with the 5 cards in your hand, choose one to use against you. So it's kind of me versus you, 1 card at a time. And the choices that I can make are that I can use one of my symptom moves to attack you, lowering your resistance on your
Right.
card. Or I can use the number in the shield, which is a kind of defensive move, so I build my own resistance by that value. Or I can use the special move, so that, as Ad said, changes the game in a way. I can block your moves or use extra moves against you, or make you do silly things like close one of your eyes or make you stand up or things like that.
We should probably point out these are sort of the intermediate rules.
Yeah.
The more advanced rules you'll be able to see in the corner of the card there in the 2 circles.
Yes.
It's the vector and the type of the disease. So the vector is how it's transmitted, and then the type of the disease is whether it's bacterial or airborne. So you can see rabies.
So that's an animal.
Yep, so it's rabies, so it's transmitted by animals.
Yeah.
And then the symbol on that card is down
I'll have to look at the symbol. So the symbol is virus, so that symbol
it's a
is
viral
virus, so
disease.
it's what type of, I guess, the disease is. So it's a virus, bacteria, protozoa, parasite, and the left-hand side symbol is the vector, so how it's transmitted, whether it's airborne, waterborne, bloodborne, mosquito. And with the advanced rules, if you match those, then you get a +1 attack bonus or a +1 defense bonus. So it just makes you think a little bit more about what order your cards play. So that's more of the advanced rules for gamers. And then scaling back from the normal rules, you basically get rid of the special move. So you're only playing with an attack and a defense, and that basically just becomes an addition-subtraction game for kids
So
on a sliding
really-
scale.
You really put some effort into scaling the game for the ability of the players.
Yeah, so it's a game that can be played basically from as soon as kids learn to count, or as a tool to teach them how to count, right up to gamers who really want to think hard about what order they're playing their cards in and what bonuses they get for combinations. There's a very good card-on-card dynamic, so one card that you've played might affect me playing another card, which might be blocked by you, so
get
it
some
can
really
go
good
at tight.
combos going.
Yeah, good combos and good tactics, but it's very basics. It's just a sliding scale with an addition subtraction. So I hit you for 2 points, you go down. You defend by 3 points, you go up. It's just an addition subtraction time. It's very basic.
Okay.
Yeah,
So
we'll
let's
play
play.
one with the special moves because they make it a little bit more fun. So
Yeah, let's play.
Dan's first.
So, all right, I got to. I don't want to be too mean. Okay. All right, I think I'm going to start by using Hookworm. So I'll use Hookworm and I'll do the special move, which is called Energy Steal. So I steal 2 points of resistance from you. So you go down by 2.
So, well, can you do that?
Yeah, no problem. So I'll put you down from 18 to 16.
Yes.
Start on 18, and I go up by 2. So I steal 2 of your points, so I'm now on 20.
All right. So now it's our turn to play back. So how about we use Japanese encephalitis to attack by 3. So where's the camera?
Over there somewhere.
There it is. So we're using
Oh,
the...
okay, looks a bit like a mummy.
Yeah.
So the
Okay.
symptoms of Japanese encephalitis are
Yeah, so you
paralysis.
get paralysis and convulsions, and then it's later stages, so that's kind of embodied in the character.
Okay.
So we've used its attack move of convulse. So Dan's gone down by 3 points, so you
Yep.
just play that card in front of you. So the cards you play stay down on the table.
Yep.
All right, I'm going to use one of my big bad cards. We'll go Yellow Fever. So the attack for that is chills. So I'll hit you for 5 points. So I'll slide you down.
I'm getting sick.
Alright. So they're two quite powerful cards. So how about we use this special move on that one? So it is eradicate 2 opponent's cards from the table. So that means those cards that Dan's played.
So these 2 cards on the table for me are now dead.
So they're out of the game. So they're in the eradication pile. So they're gone. So he can't use those once again.
Okay.
All right, my turn. All right, I'm going to use one of the cards that's does a bit of makes the opponent do something funny outside of the game. So I've got measles here, and I'll use the red eyes special move from measles. So opponent has to cover one of their eyes. So you've got to do this for the rest of the hand, and if you open that eye, then I hit you for 2 damage. So that's your punishment if you stop. So yeah, your ads is doing it as well.
I think we better build back some resistance. So build our resistance back up by 2. So it's got the number 2 in the shield there. So that means we're getting less sick.
Alright, I'll use the special move of this one. So this is Chagas disease, heart swelling. It's a special move. Opponent shuffles their hand and must play the cards in that order. They can still dictate what type of move they make. So Adam has to shuffle, and then
Shuffling while one hand is busy.
Yeah, it gets difficult.
We'll just attack you for 2 using mumps. So the move of headache.
Alright, and I'll attack you for 2 with measles booster. So burning rash for 2.
So what are we down to?
You're on to 11, and I'm on 14.
So we might use a special move of rabies, which is eradicate all cards from your opponent's table.
Oh, brutal. So all my cards are gone for that hand.
So the hand's finished, so we can
So what happens
open our
is
eyes
you
again.
Open your eyes, your punishment's over. So that hand goes down the bottom. We deal 5 more cards.
Alright, so it's our turn first.
There's one card, the special move of the meningococcal card is called neck stiffness, and it makes the opponent have to touch their ear to their shoulder. So they have to do that. We had 2 people playing like this against each other the other day. That was pretty funny.
Alright,
So you keep dealing a hand, and you keep going. So you get to cycle through the characters and get to see the characters and do a few moves against each other until one person's resistance equals 0.
Okay.
so we're going to use hepatitis B. We use jaundice. So attack power of 4.
Alright,
Okay.
I'm down 10. Okay, I'm going to do this one. Rubella. Special move is called Raging Rash. It's a bit of a risk one, this one. So we play paper, scissors, rock against each other. If I win, I deal 5 damage to you. If I lose, I take 2 damage. And if I draw, this card gets eradicated. So there's like 2 negative outcomes for me, positive outcome for you. So we'll go on 3, all right? Ready? 1, 2, 3, go. 1, 2, 3, go. Oh, brutal.
So we win.
So I get 2 damage.
It's so much
Waste of a
easier than
move.
rock, paper, scissors, lizard, Spock.
Alright, so what are you down to?
I'm down to 6, 7.
So we might play hookworm, special move, energy steal. So we take 2 points from Dan, so he goes down to,
Down
we
by
go
2.
up to.
You're up by 2. Okay, I'm going to play dengue, fever. So the special move is fire fever. While this card is on the table, for every virus I play this round, deal an additional 2 damage. So now I have to look at my cards that have the virus on them, and if I can play those, then you get an additional damage.
As well as the move that he plays. So we might just have to go for the jugular and try and finish him off. So let's use meningococcal, purple rush. Attack of 4.
Down to 3 now.
These monsters are really quite creative.
All right, so I'm going with Haemophilus B. So I'll attack you for 2, fever. And also it's a virus, so I get the bonus.
An extra 2. Alright. We might use rotavirus. Use the attack move of super vomit. Attack of 2.
Uh-oh. Okay, I'm going to build some resistance for 4 with pertussis. And I'm back up to 5.
We might use measles 2 to build 2 resistance as well.
So we're at 11. Okay. And my last move, I'll do typhoid, red spot rash for 3 damage.
So did you do the artwork yourself, or did you contact someone to do
Yeah,
it?
so I've got a little bit of drawing skill, but not this good. So I worked with the illustrator that we hired, Jimmy, who was amazing, who really nailed the concept and got the idea really well. So we basically just went through what I wanted and what we wanted out of the symptoms of the diseases, which diseases we wanted to picture and how we wanted them to be pictured, and basically just we wanted to make them kind of gross and a bit grotesque, but at the same time a bit kind of lovable and fun to look at and fun to collect. So it was really important to us to get really good illustrations involved, just to make the cards aesthetically pleasing and fun to collect.
Yes, definitely.
All right, so is it your turn first?
No, it's your turn first.
Okay. Alrighty. Have we got a coin? You got a coin? You guys got a coin on
Right,
you?
if you pass me my handbag, I have points.
Here we go. All right, so I'm going to use influenza, fever, sweat. So this is the special move. So flip a coin. I'm going to do this 5 times. So each time I get a heads, it's 2 damage to you. Each time I get a tails, it's 2 damage to me. So this is going to sort us out, I think. I've seen someone flip 5 tails in a row and really hurt themselves. So I'm hoping I don't do that. All right, heads. So that's 2 damage to you. So you're up to 5 now. This is gonna end game, I think. Oh, another one.
Get some tails.
Tails.
Yes.
Oh,
So what are you on?
3. We're both on 3. So we've got 2 more hits. Heads.
Yes. Oh.
No.
Heads.
Up. Game
Game
over.
over. There you go. Decided on a flip of the coin.
We would have finished it next turn as well.
So that's how you play. Game over.
That's great. So
Well
how?
played. Well played.
Well played.
Well played.
And thank you.
Thank you.
My mentor.
Sorry I couldn't get us over the line.
It's close. It's a close finish. Tight finish.
So how does the vaccination actually come into it?
Well, I mean, at the moment it's just a tool for education. There is a collectible component to the game, so there is potential for parents who want to buy the deck to maybe think about using the cards themselves as a reward for vaccination for kids. So if you've got a kid who's maybe nervous at needles or who's a bit hesitant as to getting a reward from, I remember when I was a young boy, when I went and got my vaccinations from the doctor, all I got was like a sticky lolly that wasn't too nice. So it's a bit better than that. So maybe it's a tool that kids can, or parents can use with their kids to entice them afterwards if they're afraid of needles or hesitant. There's a bit of a thing to look forward to after vaccination, and I guess the more
Here's
cards
the card for the monster that you're not going to get.
Yeah, exactly. So I guess at the end of the day, you know, the stronger deck you have, the better player you are in the game, and the more options you have to play. So potentially, the more cards you collect, then the better at the game you are as well. So
Awesome.
yeah, so there's also kind of advanced rules that we have worked into the play deck that's called the True Immunity rules. So you can only play using cards that you have actually been vaccinated against in your deck. So you have to eliminate the cards that you haven't got vaccinated against, and that works not only for kids but for adults as well. So people who have been travelling might have been vaccinated against, for example, hepatitis A or cholera, or things that are only available to people who really have gone to tropical areas. So that changes the dynamic of the game a little bit, called the True Immunity rules as well.
So the more vaccinations you have, the better your deck and the more chance you have to
Yeah,
win.
if you play by those rules. Yeah.
And something else we've sort of thought about is, hopefully this is probably a long way down the track once the decks are more readily available, and hopefully doctors and immunisation schedules and I suppose companies get on board, programs get on board, that we can sort of create like a gold seal version of each card. So when someone gets vaccinated against the mumps, we can sort of create a super powered card that they can be given at their vaccination or they send off to receive. Then they,
So it's immediate positive reinforcement.
yeah, and it's also super powered and something they're proud to have. And
Yeah, it just might make it a little bit more, make them more of a competitive player if they get a card that maybe has an extra damage or an extra resistance point there. And
we don't want kids to be, wanting to go back to get multiple immunisation by any means, but
we don't wanting to get them too early or outside the schedule. But it's
we think having like making them feel a little bit special for getting it done will definitely soften the blow when they're getting the needle and make them not as hesitant to.
And I guess kids at that age who are getting vaccinated are maybe not so aware of why they're getting vaccinated. A lot of kids maybe don't have that health literacy or don't have that kind of education. So it provides not only a tool for the conversation to come up, it can provide them with the means to go and educate themselves a little bit more. We've got some information on our website, and I guess just the amount of education that kids do themselves these days, it just prompts them to have that conversation themselves instead of just waiting in a line at school to go get a needle that hurts and then kind of walk off and keep playing. Maybe they have something that kind of draws their attention to the vaccine they just got, and they can educate themselves a little bit more about the disease and what it actually means, apart from just hearing the name of the disease that they're being vaccinated against.
So tell us about the Kickstarter and your website. What is your website?
So Vaxcards.com. You can follow us on Twitter at Vaxcards, and currently if you go to Kickstarter.com and search Vaxcards, you'll find us. That's the platform which we're doing our crowdfunding on. So at the moment you can't purchase any decks. You just have to order them through Kickstarter. And for the way that Kickstarter works, if no one's familiar with it, it's a crowdfunding platform. So we set a goal which we need to hit in order to fund our campaign. That's kind of the maths that we've done as to how much money we need to raise to make this actually a product that we can bring to shops and what we want to do with it. So basically people log on to Kickstarter, it only takes a couple of minutes, you just sign up, and it's a very secure payment site, very well trusted with hundreds of millions of dollars of backed projects in the past. You sign up, you search for our campaign, we'll go to our website, click a button to go there, and you can purchase multiple different tiers. So we've got some downloadable print and play decks, so just the pictures and the artwork that people can print and cut it up, maybe if they can't afford a proper deck. We have the basic deck for sale for $20. We have some early bird specials as well, but we have scaled up versions. So if you want to play with a friend, obviously you need a deck each, so you can buy 2, you can buy 3, and we've got scales that go up even further for people. We've got a classroom size one, which is 20 or 10. And we have a school size one for 100, and we also have a village size one for 500, which is a big one back, and if we get any of those we'll be pretty happy, I think. But look, there's a whole range of different scales for people to back it, and you'll get at the moment the 3 decks that we have available, and if we hit our stretch goals on the Kickstarter page, then we will be able to fund the extra decks that we just played with and the secret one that we're keeping secret. So we are really grateful to have the opportunity to be highlighted here at PAX, the gaming venue, as an indie showcase game. We're local Melbourne game designers, so it's really good for us to be part of something so big. We had the opportunity to launch just yesterday, and we only launched probably less than 15 hours ago or something. 15 or so hours. As you can see, we're already funded about 32%, with just over $3,000 worth of funding, and we're tracking, apparently, according to the trajectories, towards just over 50,000. So that's pretty successful by our standards.
Absolutely.
And that would definitely allow us to translate it and distribute it a bit wider than just an English-speaking background who has access to Kickstarter. So at the moment, we really appreciate any support that we can get. Every pledge really helps us, and if you want to just try it before you go, I mean, we think it's great. We have a free download at our website as well. So there's a free download of just the starter deck, which is the kind of basic core component of the game, on our website. So you can go there and download a free starter deck, cut it up and have a play if you want, or go ahead and purchase on our Kickstarter right now, and it's only up there until December 5. So The more backs earlier the better, because people get on board and they see it's going well. So if you're really passionate about the idea and think it's really good and games can help educate, please support us.
Great. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Yeah.